welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then welcome. My name is Ariel, and yeah, I mainly talk about books here. There's really no other way to put it. I talk about books a lot, and if you're like that, then you're in the perfect place. So, it is Black History Month. It's February. And if you're like me and you love all things fantasy, sci fi, speculative fiction, then this is the month to read Black authors in those genres. So it's one of my goals this month to read Black authors throughout February. And if it's one of your goals too, then this reading list is going to be perfect for you. So stay tuned and yeah, check out all of the picks that I have. And if you have picks of your own, please let me know below in the comments. Okay, let's go. So the first book on my list is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. If you have not heard of this book, then chances are that you've been living under a rock somewhere. Like, I don't know where you've been. Everybody and their mama has been talking about this book. It follows Bree, a high school student who ends up doing this kind of like college program at UNC. And the first night there, she runs into something that completely changes the trajectory of her like entire life. There's magic, there's Arthurian legend, there are two potential love interests for Bree, and of course, she's the main character. She's a Black girl coming from a Black family, so it's really, really relatable too. I really love this one. And the second book also is already out, Bloodmarked is already out, and there's a third book coming out in this series. Like, it just doesn't get much better than that. You definitely have to read Legendborn this month. Definitely, definitely, if you haven't already. Okay, so the next pick is Midnight Robber by Nalo Hopkinson. Nalo Hopkinson is one of my favorite Caribbean Jamaican writers. She blends her culture with magic and she just creates this entirely new world in her books. So Midnight Robber takes place on an alternate planet called Toussaint, which has been colonized by Caribbean peoples. And it follows a girl named Tantan. And I actually don't know too much about Midnight Robber because I haven't started reading it yet, but it looks like it's full of magic and fantasy and just a whole bunch of good stuff that I know I'm gonna like. So this is definitely on my TBR for this month. Also on my list of books to read this month is An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon. This is such a good book. The writing is so, so beautiful. I love this book so much. It follows a girl named Aster who lives on this spaceship called the Matilda. And the Matilda is actually set up a lot like the antebellum South, meaning that the Black folks are at the bottom of the totem pole, and the folks with wealth, the white folks, are up at the top. And basically, Aster goes on this journey to learn more about her mother who died when she was born. And this journey brings her on this incredible path to self-discovery and self-reliance, and just she discovers so much. So this would probably fall more into the science fiction category, but it's really, really good, and I definitely recommend giving this book a read. River Solomon also wrote a book called The Deep, which is about mermaids who are descendants of pregnant slaves who were thrown overboard during the Middle Passage, and that one also looks so good. So yeah, An Unkindness of Ghosts, definitely give this one a read this month. I know I'm really late, like years late, but I have not read Children of Virtue and Vengeance yet. This is the follow-up to Tomi Adeyemi's book, Children of Blood and Bone, which I read years ago, and I'm just now getting around to reading this second part. So basically, this book picks up where the first book left off. This book has really polarizing reviews on Goodreads. Like, there are some people who love it and some people who really don't like it. And I'm hoping that I love it. I don't know. Have you read this one? Please, if you have, let me know. Like, is it worth adding to my list this month? I really want to read it. I feel obligated to finish the series, and I know that there's another book coming out. But I'm just wondering, like, is this book worth it? It looks so good. It looks so good, but it just got, the reviews are crazy. So let me know, okay? So, Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I've heard so many great things about this book, so I'm actually really excited to delve into it. I'm only about like 30 pages in, and I'm actually reading it on my Kindle. I just bought a physical copy just to have both. I don't know what I was thinking. But essentially, this book And what Justina Ireland does a lot in her books is she reimagines history and adds in magic. So it's like this magic is happening alongside the history that we already know. So in Dread Nation, I think it's around like the Civil War time, the dead actually start rising again. And the main character, Jane, goes to this school that teaches Black girls basically how to fight these zombies. And that's as much as I know about the book, but I'm excited to delve into it because I love historical fiction mixed with fantasy. It just doesn't get much better than that. I did read Rust in the Root by Justina Ireland, which I didn't like as much. So I'm really hoping that I do like Dread Nation. But this one does have really good reviews as well. So another one to add to your list this month. So the next book is The Book of Night Women by Marlon James. This is another historical fiction fantasy book. It follows the story of a girl named Lilith who has powers beyond her imagination. And she's a slave on a plantation in Jamaica, and she actually meets other women who have powers similar to hers, and they have kind of like this secret society that she learns about. And yeah, I guess the rest of the book, I'm only about like 20 pages in so far, but I guess the rest of the book is going to just be about her journey and her discovering her magic and what she can do with it and the power that lies within her already. This book is written in, I guess the best way to describe it would be like Afro diasporic vernacular. So it's written basically how people would speak. So if you're unfamiliar with that, or if you haven't read books in that type of way, like Zora Neale Hurston, this may be a little bit more of a difficult read for you. But if you're used to reading that type of language, then this will probably be really easy. But again, I just started this one and I'm really excited about it. Again, this one has great reviews on Goodreads. It's got like 4.38 or something like that. And so I know that this one's going to be good. And I know people who've read this one and they've had nothing but amazing things to say about it. So yeah, I'm excited to read this one this month. Okay, so I want to go through some books that I'm actually getting through the Libby app. So, the thing I love about the Libby app, and you may or may not know this already, is that you can actually add more than one library card to your Libby app. So, if you live in a state like mine, my public library actually has this sharing network with other libraries in the state. So I can actually sign up for all of these other libraries that I'm not necessarily local to, but because I'm in the state, I have access to these libraries, and it's like an additional 8 libraries. So what happens when you have access to more libraries, it means that you have access to more books, more audiobooks. You have a better chance of finding a book that you want because more books will be available to you. So I definitely recommend checking that out. There are also libraries across the country that offer basically non-resident memberships. So for a yearly fee, you can pay to have access to that library. So when you go to Google, just search non-resident library, and some options should come up for you. And alternatively, if you're looking to see if your local library has a reciprocal sharing network or lending network with other libraries in the state, just type in your state and then reciprocal library networks. And it should pull up all of these libraries that are basically like sharing information and resources with each other. And that way you get access to way more libraries, you'll get access to way more books, and you'll save way more money. So there's really not a downside to using Libby. Like, I love it so far. I've been able to read so many books, and not just that, but I've been able to test books out before I decide on purchasing them, which really helps because there have been some books that I started reading and that I didn't like, and I saved myself some money because I took them out on the Libby app instead of just buying them first. So definitely recommend Libby if you don't already have it. So the first book I'm reading on Libby this month is called This Poison Heart. And I'm just going to give really short descriptions. It's about this girl who essentially can control plants and trees and pretty much anything like growing and living she can control. They're drawn to her. Trees are drawn to her. Plants are drawn to her. And essentially, what happens is her aunt that she's never known dies and leaves her this estate. And so she goes to live at this estate. And I think she starts basically like a botanica, I think. And yeah, that's kind of like where the story goes. I don't know much more about this Poison Heart because I just started it, but so far it's really good. The other two books that I'm reading on Libby are Skin of the Sea, which is an audiobook, and then also A Song Below Water, which is also an audiobook. And I haven't listened to any audiobooks yet, so I'm hoping that I like it. But both of these books have to do with black mermaids and black sirens. I don't know much more other than that, but I mean, you have me at Black Mermaids, Black Sirens. Like, it doesn't get much better than that. So, those are the three books that I'll be reading on the Libby app this month. And yeah, that is the end of my Black History Month fantasy, sci fi, speculative fiction roundup. Again, if you have any suggestions or recommendations for this month, please let me know. I'm definitely trying to break out of my comfort zone and read more non-fantasy books, which I am doing this month as well. But I just have a special place in my heart for fantasy. I just love it so much. And yeah, when you get black authors and fantasy or science fiction, it's like the perfect match. So, like I said, this month is a month to support Black authors, read Black authors, and read Black books. So, might as well do it, right? So, happy reading, happy February, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.